Welcome, hello, good to see you.
Hi.
Could you state me your name, position and role?
Sure, I'm Giulia Zamboni and I'm lead producer at Supermasive Games.
So you are a frequent visitor of Reboot's conference. Could you tell me more about your experiences here with,
Sure.
being here in the game dev industry?
Sure, absolutely, yeah. So I'm a #1 fan of Reboot Develop, to be fair, since I think not the very first edition, but like the second one. So I never missed one, apart from like the most recent one in last November due to the COVID thing, etc. And I honestly think that this is like one of the best event, probably the best event in the game industry due to the atmosphere, the location. So Dubrovnik's pretty good, pretty cool. This wonderful location and a lot of cool people, but still with some sort of very curated mood. So it's
Boutique.
Exactly, boutique event. Damir will thank me later for that, but yes, exactly. So it's always very relaxed, atmosphere, but still you are basically working. So and making connections, listening to very interesting talk, connecting and know people. So it's like really, really amazing for me.
You're also having a speech today. It will be broadcasted, live. But
yeah.
What was it like for you to be on the, you're here, but you're gonna make a speech? Are you happy or are you excited? Do you think the feedback will be any good, better, worse? What do you think? Okay,
so I'm literally super happy, of course, to give you my talk today. It's a little bit, God. No pressure at all, just because they literally moved, my speech. It was supposed to happen yesterday, then a little bit of change into the schedule, and it's going to be this afternoon at 3 p.m. And they also moved, to move my speech to a bigger stage. So I was like, okay, thank you guys. Literally no pressure at all. Thank you very much. But yeah, no, it's pretty good because it's the first time basically being at Reboot, having a speech. So, yeah, I will try to, do my best, and I hope that people will basically find it pretty interesting and helpful.
That's about your whole experience, since you've been in Supermassive Games that do have big titles, people like horror games. But we spoke before filming that you actually had some background in some kind of a different area. And that actually helped you work here with your the previous experience. So
yeah,
tell me
more
about that.
Yeah, sure. So basically, let's say that I don't have the standard background that most people have if it's up to working in the game industry. So I studied law at university, and I have really strong. I had and still have, to be fair, a really strong passion in criminology. So I made
justice.
A lot of justice for everyone. I made a lot of different courses and masters about this on this subject. And my very first job, first job that I did, was as a private investigator, and I still regret nothing. It was super fun. I enjoyed it a lot, and so maybe I think this is definitely a plus for me, even to have had the chance to join Supermassive Games due to the kind of games that we create at Supermassive. So with this dark atmosphere and a little bit of horror and similar stuff. So it's definitely something that helped me.
People are capable of beautiful and evil things, or darker and twisted. So do you think that your games are specifically made, people have different kind of horror genres, either grotesque or physical or psychological. What is the mixture of perception about your game? So I know that horrors are really popular, and you do play it a lot too.
So yeah, I think that nowadays a lot of people, a lot of players in particular, really love that kind of horror and dark atmosphere. Maybe it's also because we have TV series and movies that in the recent years are also using this kind of thematics and topics, and so it's like some sort of like increasing, you know, appeal for people on this kind of darkness, kind of, you know, stories, and or I mean, horror is always something pretty appealing, you know. At some
like
point,
fear,
yeah, but people like sometimes to, you know, to have like jump scares and to be basically worried and to be afraid of things, especially if you're, you know, when you're playing a video game, for example, and you're just living an experience, but in your soul you know that you are not really in danger, like you're in your living room or something, so you're kind of safe, but at the same time so you are even more free to, you know, really enjoy the horror, I would say. So yeah, hopefully, I mean, this is something that is not gonna end, so I think that it will go on basically forever, and we are trying to, you know, find always new ways to make people
startled a bit, right?
Yeah, kind of, and jump on their, you know, on their chairs. So,
like, bless our little hearts. Anyways, you actually had this year one VR release. Is it also a horror title, since we're talking about horror in genre in particular?
Yeah.
Are you available to talk about it, or is it still, you know, under the cloud of NDA?
Yeah, still not like ideal, like for me at least.
Okay, yeah, but there is something cooking and brewing from the,
of course,
horror cauldron. So
so let's say that we are just working currently on many different things, and I think that players will love basically all of our new future projects. So stay tuned, guys.
Do you remember the time? So, what is the state now of game dev? About 15 years ago, people really didn't thought about video games being, like a legit either job career or actually an industry. So, did actually anything change? I mean, you have been having a really not tough, but experienced and eventful last year of work. So, what is your thoughts about the state of game industry right now, from your perspective and from your company and Supermasive Games?
So, well, you said something very true, I would say. So, literally 10, 15 years ago, it wasn't like a standard for like young people to literally think, oh well, I could work in the game industry one day. It's not gonna. It was not like something that came to your mind very easily. Also because the game industry is seems like a big world, but it's almost somehow a small world, if that makes sense. So it's really difficult, and I think that it's still kind of difficult to really understand how things works, behind the scenes. So how a video game is made, is created, and how many different professions and disciplines are literally behind the creation of a video game. But let's say that events like Reboot, for example, but all the kind of cool events in the world.
Gamescom, Game Developers Conference.
Yeah, but also smaller kind of events that are growing pretty fast in the recent years are super helpful to to make people aware of what's the real situation of the video game industry, and what are the real opportunities that people have, young person have, to join the industry. So let's say that this is of course like a still growing, field, and with the development of technology, and I think that this will basically go on for years and years. Even during COVID, for example, game industry was one of the few fields and areas that kind of didn't even suffer too much. On the contrary, maybe we could say that people basically blocked into like their places and houses. They can basically have more time. They add literally more time to play video games. So so definitely is something in continue to increase and to improve. And so I'm pretty happy also to say that, you know, nowadays I see and I speak to a lot of people that start to consider a career in video games, like in a very early stage of their life, even like high school or even earlier than that. And that was literally not common, as we said, like 10 years ago. I also had, you know, the chance to teach to some students in the past at university or high schools again. And so now I'm really, you know, proud to see that the number of people that really consider that as a possible career and a cool career also is like bigger and bigger every year. So
then for the last question about the future and everything, since there is a bright future ahead of us, are you looking forward to the VR getting the bigger public spotlight in games, especially games, since I see that most of them are also horror oriented, just because it's more immersive than the usual gameplay that we had from consoles or either PCs, depends on the game, yeah. Yep. So what do you think about that?
I think so, definitely, like VR is something that of course has, you know, it's a good match with horror genre, because basically you are definitely going to be into the game, and that helps you a lot to really feel the experience on your skin, right? So and probably I would say probably one of the best you know, match, so VR and horror. So let's see what the future has for us and for you.
Thank you for your time. Enjoy your presentation today. Hope everything goes well. I mean, it's going to be a bigger stage, lots of people, but that's good. No pressure.
No pressure again. Thank you.
See you later.
Thanks.